Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of May. I hope you're all well and you've had an opportunity to enjoy your birthdays. Sorry I wasn't around to wish you a happy birthday. If the reading resonates, there will be an extended at the end. The link will be down in the description box. It will take you to Vimeo for that. Obviously, if you support me on Patreon, then you get access to all the extended content for no extra cost. So, Aries, let's jump straight in. I'm using the Tarot of the Abyss for you today. Let's see what's going on with Aries. I have 3 cards for Aries. We have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. I'll show it to you there. Oh, there we go. For your past energy. Current energy for Aries, please. We have the High Priestess. Pisces energy. And what's coming up from Aries? We have the Hanged Man. That's interesting. That's another Pisces card. But all of this is feeling quite alien energy to you, Aries, right? From the off, you know, we've got the Six of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, and there's a card that talks about balance. Sometimes, you know, you've achieved balance, and congratulations, that's very good, very well done. Or sometimes it's the need to achieve balance because things feel very unstable to me right here. Now, although Aries and Pisces are actually signs that seem to go together really, really well, for you to be somewhat swamped by this Piscean energy, it makes me feel like everything is very confusing for you at the moment. Everything feels actually really kind of emotional for you at the moment. And the test for you, yeah, I mean, look at these cards we've got under here. Underneath the Six of Pentacles, we've got the Strength card, and underneath that, we've got the Moon. It seems like where you are at the moment is a place that requires from you some really deep self-examination. And we're looking at the bits of you, we're possibly slightly shadowy, but certainly very emotional, right? It seems like you're being touched right at the center of you. And it doesn't feel like now is a time for movement. It doesn't feel like now is a time for activity. As we speak, I think we've gone into the shadow period, I think, for Mercury retrograde. So obviously when that kind of energy is present, we are always looking to make sure that we, you know, we've tied up loose ends properly. That's what the energy is here for, right? We tie up loose ends. We look at things that maybe we haven't seen before. But this overwhelming emotional energy seems to be coming through really, really strong. Let's get, yeah, I'm going to go with the Triple Goddess to clarify. I'll just give it a quick shuffle. Tell me about this Knight of Pentacles, please. We've got the Page of Swords. Ooh. And the Four of Cups. Now that's interesting because already it seems like it's touching on something like abandonment issues. But let's get some more. Tell me about the High Priestess, please. Oh, we have the World card. So endings are needing to be negotiated at this time. We have the High Priestess. Thank you. And we have the Ten of Cups. Okay. Tell me about the Hanged Man, please. Ooh. We've got the Seven of Swords and we've got the Fool. Right? There's the first glimpse that we have of you. Right, of some fiery energy, which is what you need for sure. I want to point out actually also, no, I'm not going to throw it on the floor, let's pull it up here. I'm going to point out that this Hanged Man came out in the reverse too, and that's important. It's certainly important for what's going on down here. So at the bottom of the deck we have the Hierophant. Now we know what the Hierophant is about. It's, you know, it's about structure. Sometimes it's about a bit of rigidity, you know. Sometimes it can talk about business and institutional structures, marriage, that kind of thing. It could be for some of you that marriages are breaking down at this point, and I don't think it's going to come as a shock to you. So if you're suddenly like, oh my god, my marriage is going to break down, like if you're not already aware of this, then this isn't applying to you. because the feeling that I have here, rather than it being business or, you know, school, university, you know, your places of employment, stuff like that, it feels like it is your history, right? It is that which has built your foundation that is now in some way kind of coming to an end, which is forcing you to really go deep, really go within. You know, we've got the Queen of Cups sitting underneath there. Now she is Cancer energy, where the Hierophant is Taurus, right? Fixed earth, that which we can rely on, that which we put our feet on and we know is solid, right? But we've got the Queen of Cups. Like I said, it feels to me like it's going directly to the heart of the matter for you, whatever that is. And then we have the Hanged Man again underneath. We also have the Six of Wands, interestingly. So straight from the off, we can see that this is very challenging. This is a very challenging situation for you, because it is, you know, it is everything that has made you you, your provenance, your heritage, your history, you know, your foundations. It feels like here are shaking, they're wobbling, possibly because of people who are exiting in one way or another. But it feels really fundamental, you know. So we have the Knight of Pentacles here in your recent past, and that's a Virgo energy, and it's about details and that sort of thing. It's about commitment. It's about really, you know, it's about movement. And interestingly, it's about slow movement. But here we almost have no movement. It's almost like the world has come like grinding to a halt. And it's like now the universe says, now you have to stand here. You have to wait here for just a little bit, and you have to deal with what comes up. You have to deal with what you feel, because we've got the Page of Swords and we've got the Four of Cups, and this is what I'm talking about, abandonment issues, possibly deeply rooted and from the past, that are coming to the fore, that are requiring you to look at them, because this is asking, well, this is kind of intimating, actually, that the reason why everything has ground to a halt, the reason why you cannot progress forwards, is because there is some sort of connection here. There's some sort of process that needs to occur first so that you can see the world in a slightly different way. Right? It's almost like kind of educating yourself. We've got somebody who is, you know, scribing away in a library there and filling their mind with knowledge, and you know, that's how the Page of Swords operates. But do you know what's really interesting there? When we look at that sword above her head, it's like the sword of Damocles. It's just dangling over her head there, and it's almost like she's kind of been working away at things for a long time with this sword of Damocles. And I feel like the sword of Damocles is the abandonment issues, kind of not addressing that and paying attention to something else. And now the universe is just like, no, now you have to stop. Now you have to really look at these things, because this is important for you to tie this up, to wind this up, because of the insight that it will give you into you, but also because of your general happiness, you know. We're going to be seeing a lot of this, I feel, over the next few months, where people are having to really dig deep and not only identify what is important to them, but identify the ways in which fear pinches at their heart, you know. Four of Cups is about rejection. It's also about rejecting potentially, but the two of them together are like this realization that these issues are coming to the fore. Now, the fact that they're coming to the fore makes me feel like there is something that has kicked them off. There has been some sort of catalyzing event here for you, and I know you're tired, Aries. Like we've been talking about how tired you are and how you need things to be better. The problem is, as like Carl Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. Right? These kind of works require considerable moral effort, and this is what is being asked of you now. So it's almost like time to get your boots on, you know, your big boots, and get ready to do some trudging over the next, certainly over the next month, certainly while Mercury is in retrograde, certainly while Pisces is dancing around and doing all these kind of things. I think Jupiter's joining Pisces very soon, and we can expect that kind of, well, maybe it's this what it is, that massive expansion of emotional engagement, or even Jupiter does other things too, but the two of them together feels very strongly to me like it's going right to the heart of the matter, however that shows up for you. But certainly anything around abandonment issues and anything around that which you reject, right? So the kind of people that you reject, the kind of feelings that you reject, maybe somebody has come to you with feelings and it just feels like a heavy weight around you. Like, I've got so much of my own shit to deal with. I can't deal with you having feelings at me right now. That would be something that would also be covered by this. So when we come to the the main energy here, like where you are right now, and it is the High Priestess. Now, whilst this may feel almost punishing, I think it probably does feel quite punishing at this point, to be in this. It's a very passive card, remember, and you've got all of the really passive cards are here. There's no movement, there's no going forwards, there's nothing you can do here except sit with this thing until you start to understand it. There is also a benefit, and the benefit is covered by internal wisdom, intuition, that sort of thing, right? All of those things that Pisces rules very, very well. It's about getting you in touch with these things. Now, I don't know, you may have heard me before. Well, I haven't got this kind of theory where your intuition and your emotions kind of run parallel with each other. They're not the same thing, but they are very, very tightly linked together. So the more comfortable you are with your emotions, the more you understand your emotions, the louder, the clearer, the more precisely your intuition can speak about things, right? When there are parts of our emotions that we do not understand, that we find confusing, that we perhaps even possibly repress because we don't want to have to deal with it because it's too painful, we create this white noise between us and our intuition. Right? It's almost like static, right? And so your intuition tries to speak, but things get lost in translation, or you can't quite hear it, or you can't quite discern whether it's that inner critic, that nagging voice that tells you that you're wrong or you're worthless, or that we all have, that kind of chatters away here in the background, and that will always make you feel less in control of things. It makes you feel like you can't trust yourself. It makes you feel potentially like you can't trust other people too. It makes you question your own judgment, and that's not a useful thing. So the benefit of this is that identifying exactly what these energies are in you at this time allows you to start clearing all of that white noise, right? It's like turning your intuition up. It's covering the gap, right? Bringing things closer together, bringing your emotions together and your intuition, so that you can be more intuitive, so that you can take that and actually take action on it. The other thing that I'm feeling here very, very strongly is that you might be getting absolutely thwacked with the spiritual downloads this month, and that can be exhausting too. And to be gentle with yourself and to be kind to yourself, don't try and force anything this month. It's almost like Pisces, you need to let it flow. You need to just let it roll. Be like the water, right? Bruce Lee. Not a Pisces. Bruce Lee was a Sagittarius, actually. He was born on the same day as my partner and as my daughter. Yeah, but there's something of that here, right? Go with the flow. Do not force yourself too much to be doing one thing or another thing. If you've got practicalities that you need to take care of, then that's one thing. But don't force yourself to feel anything, or more precisely, not feel anything, right? This is all about feeling, and it does feel like it's coming around an ending. There's an end of an era indicated here. We've got the Ten of Cups, which is about, always, it's one of the happy family cards, right? But it is deeply rooted in the emotional. Again, you know, we'd get a similar kind of message if the Ten of Pentacles came up, but that's more about the heritage and legacy, you know, that which we pass on to our children. This is very much about the intangible, about the emotional, but it is a 10. And so it is in and of itself an end. And then we have the World card here. It's the end of a major cycle that you are experiencing right now. It does feel like the end of an era. It feels like on the other side of this process, you cannot help but define yourself differently to how you did before this started. And that's very challenging. It's incredibly challenging. But at the same time, it is very empowering, right? In a quiet way, it is empowering. It's perhaps a kind of drama of the sort that fire signs don't really like. I mean, an excess of water will put out a fire sign every single time, leave you in a smouldering ruin, you know. And there's water everywhere here, but there are little pockets of other things. I'm going to pull another couple of cards actually, because I'm quite interested here. There are pockets of things that you can kind of just like cling on to, just try and hold your fire in us. But you should be aware that you are being asked to pause. You are being asked to stop. You are being asked not to even attempt to move until you have processed what it is that is going on for you right now. Tell me about this World card, please. Got the Five of Cups is flipped in the deck there. We have the King of Cups here too. That's Scorpio energy. Could be that you're dealing with a Scorpio, but this is someone, like, for some of you there are losses. It's bereavement or divorce or some other exit of a person that you feel really, really strongly about, who has in some way left, I think, in whatever that way that is, which is why the abandonment issues are kind of coming to the surface. What do we have here? Is that Six of Pentacles? Yeah, it's about Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck, right? This is painful, this is challenging. It is about finding your balance, your emotional balance this month, you know, and it feels like it's going to be tested. Without question, it's going to be tested. But there's almost an expectation of this. It doesn't feel like it's kind of flying in sideways and, you know, knocks you out. It's like, it's something that you kind of see coming, and then when it actually arrives and it's in its entirety, you're like, holy shit, like everything's coming to the surface. Balance is key, and whatever you can do to balance yourself out this month is a useful thing to do, so long as it's not done at the expense of sitting with your emotions and sitting with what is coming up and what you feel. Now, this is interesting because when we come to May, we have the Hanged Man in reverse, more Piscean energy, the most passive card in the deck, but also showing up in reverse. So this way round, it can talk about submission and sacrifice. It can also talk about a change in perspective, right? It can talk about the ways in which you need to change the way that you see yourself, that you see the world, that you know, show up in relationships, the way that you consider relationships to form part of who you are. Yeah, and look at things very, very differently. It is also a card of just stopping dead, waiting, hanging around, right, not moving in any way. But it is showing up in the reverse here. Now, this is very good for me because of everything that we've seen here, because it seems like you should not be too concerned that what you're experiencing is now just your life, right? There's a transit going on here. There's a very transitory energy going here. And the sooner that you can get in touch with your emotions, and the sooner that you can work out what it is that the High Priestess is trying to show you here about the endings and how you process endings, the sooner you will be able to start moving again, because it's about eradicating the chains that keep you bound in some way, right? Now it's being delivered, you know, in a very, I don't know, it feels unkind, actually. what you're experiencing here. It feels very unkind. But that is the way of these kind of lessons. It's about the process of how you begin to start moving forwards again for you in May, but taking into account everything that is coming up for you, that has come up for you, and that is coming up for you right now as you are watching this video, you know, because as an Aries, and I think Sagittarius kind of has this to a degree too, or at least a predisposition towards it, there is this sometimes movement for movement's sake, right? And it's about running as fast as you can away from the thing that is really painful, right? We fill our lives with busy things, and then we don't have to think, you know. And just like Sagittarius, Aries traditionally has an awful lot of energy, right? We're doing a thing, going off in that direction, we're going to achieve, it's going to be great, we're going to go explore. But often it's running away from the thing that makes you feel like you don't have any power over here, the things that make you feel like you can't cope with what's going on, you know. And this pause, this stop for you, don't move until you've processed this, will definitely help you moving forward. Sorry, my stomach's gurgling away here. Because, well, tell me about the 7 swords, please. Thank you. Because we're dealing with the lies that we tell ourselves about how wounded we are. Now, it could well be, and I think that this is probably true for most, it could well be that what has happened recently has kicked off something historic, right? We've spoken about that already. Old abandonment issues, but old other issues too. Any way in which you are hurt seems to be coming to the fore now for you. And as uncomfortable as that is, as challenging as that is giving you an opportunity to shake free of the things that have kept you trapped, not the people, but the emotional responses to it. So it could be that, you know, you realize that you have not properly processed, you know, a loss, whether it is through, you know, a prior relationship breakdown, or whether it's because you've fallen out with, you know, someone who was your best friend for, you know, a million years, whether it's through death and bereavement. This is also a possible thing too. It's like old wounds are coming up to the surface, and it's almost like you have to acknowledge now the lies that you have told yourself about how fine you are, about how well you are coping. Because ultimately, trauma stacks, as my daughter put it rather brilliantly. It does stack. And eventually we get to a point where it's stacked so high, it falls over and it crushes us. And that feels like it's where you are at the moment, like you're trapped under this big pile of trauma that's just sort of fallen down on you. You're like, well, shit, how do I get out from underneath here? And it's like, well, first you have to acknowledge that this thing at the top here that's kind of like around your head on the floor, you're like, that's the most recent thing here. But look at everything that it was on top of, right? And the stuff that's down here, the stuff that's down by your knees, you know, that is much earlier. And it's all connected. And there's an opportunity for renewal here, renewal of your emotions, liberation and freedom. But first, there must be radical honesty about what it is that has hurt you. I said that this month is going to be challenging, and I absolutely stand by that. But incredibly rewarding too, in light of what it is that you will be able to shift from inside of you. Because there you are. It almost feels like this is a month of really profound self-discovery for you. I mean, the Fool is a great card for any sign when it shows up. But because it's you, Aries, and it is your energy there, it's initiatory, right? It's you coming back to yourself in the fullest sense that you can be. You know, you are the flame. You're designed to be like a rocket, and it's never going to be comfortable for you to keep still. But if keeping still allows you to notice all of the things that have stopped you being able to take off vertically properly, then in the long run, this is a very valuable experience to you. This is really teaching you something very profound. Tell me about this Fool, please. The Fool is clarified by the Fool. It's doubling down on the message. This is really, really important for you. This There's the Six of Cups at the bottom, right? The past is something that is going to be heavily on your mind, maybe even your childhood at this point. For some of you, it might even be, I don't know, past life stuff is coming to the fore too. But look at this. Right? We have both of these cards that speak of endings, very, very strongly of endings. And then we have this double full energy here, right? You not just starting a new cycle, starting afresh, trusting and liberated and free, but it's also you. It's doubling down on being you. And so where you are at the moment is the liminal space, is that transitional space twixt here and here. And this is nothing to be afraid of, right? Because this is here and it is waiting for you. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult for sure. But much like we expect from Aries, like you're not going to hang around. Like once, if you really kind of tune into the lesson as it is being shown to you here, right, the gift that is being given to you, which is the opportunity to rid yourself of all of the ways in which your emotions have been stacking, the trauma's been stacking, then we have, in a very, very short amount of time, a renewal here. And I think that that's incredibly valuable. So, I'm sorry not to have given you like, you know, sunshine and rainbows and unicorns, but I think that this is more valuable to you. And I'm sorry for what you're going through at the moment, and I know that you're tired, but the end is in sight of this cycle, right? We're just tying up loose ends now and shaking free, shaking loose. And that, you can't put a value on that. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now. So if you would like to go a little bit deeper into what May is all about and see if we can get you some advice and maybe it's a little bit of perspective, then you're welcome to join me there. The link is down in the description box. But otherwise, be kind to yourself this month. Right? Above all, be kind to yourself and allow whatever needs to come up, because you're strong enough. You're strong enough to deal with it, even though you fear that you're not. And it does mark an end. That's the important thing. So, know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.